I was leading by 15 seconds, and the safety cars screwed me over. But sometimes it's like that.
This is Paddock 43, the podcast, your weekly rundown giving you all things F1 from both on and off the track.
From races, trades, rumours, the lifestyle, and all the things that come with the F1 world.
We are Amy, Elle, and Pat. Let's get into it. Are you there?
Hello. We are back, and it's just two of us today.
Two of us, because for those playing along at home, Patty, well, she
may or may not have. We'll leave that to you guys because it's not us to. It's not our place to announce. But we might have another member of Paddock 43.
We might be four. So Pat will make her announcements in due course, but it's all very, very exciting. So now you can stuck with us too for a little bit until Pat is back from her maternity leave, I guess, on the podcast, which is weird saying that.
I know, that's so weird. She will be back, but it's okay. She will be back.
Yeah, when we started this time last year, like we were all getting so drunk before each episode, and then we had all those nights out, and yeah, you're sitting there with wine. It's Monday night here. Now here we are. Anyway,
a year later, and we've grown as a podcast. Pat's belly grew, and now it's deflating, and yes.
Yeah. But here we are. We're still here. And just a quick note to anyone listening, if you do like this podcast, it really would mean a lot to us if you do follow, subscribe, and also leave a review. It just helps us massively and knows that we're doing the right thing. So if you've been here for a year, thank you.
Getting into Canada.
Canada served quite some drama. I mean, it's also been a lot of...
It was a lot of news, a lot of drama, a very good race, a very wet race. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was just everything about this whole week I really, really enjoyed. I mean, prediction-wise, we were all very far off. I think we've got to...
I had Oscar for the win, and he came fourth.
Yeah, I went with your predictions as well. I liked your one.
Yeah, true. We had the same one.
Yeah, Pat.
But also, then to be fair, in our defence, it was a really good track for McLaren.
Yeah. And
I think if it wasn't wet, they probably would have won.
Possibly. I mean, as Max says, what did he say? Well, if my mother had balls, she'd be my father. So, if.
True.
Thank you, Max.
Ifs and buts, basically. I'm going to use that.
I know. Tom's been using it all week, or last 2 weeks, nonstop. It just is all that he says. But the only prediction I actually got right was the most complete random one, and was about Chloe Stroll. I was like, I reckon at Monaco,
yes,
she's pregnant and she's going to announce the day before the Canadian Grand Prix. There you go. Lance Stroll's sister is
pregnant. She was pregnant.
And she announced it. So
very kind of interesting announcing it like the day before your brother's big race.
Well, I think all eyes are on Strolls when you're in Canada.
Yeah, true.
Probably.
It's a good time to post it, but is it kind of like stealing the limelight? Not like there's much limelight on Lance Stroll anyway, but
maybe it's...
I mean, happy for it.
Well, it was also probably to take the pressure off Lance Stroll.
Actually, that's true. He cracks under pressure quite a bit.
Her and Scotty James would have PR teams. The Stroll family would have PR teams. I bet there's some sort of...
It would have been discussed.
Yeah, discussed on why that has happened.
Yeah.
But beyond the truth,
absolutely,
there was a bunch of rumours.
Which one would you like to start with?
Well, I think Daily Mail, which... Do we count that as a reputable source?
Oh my God.
Sometimes the Daily Mail's right, sometimes they're not.
Sometimes, yes. It's a mixed bag.
There are things on the Daily Mail I'm like, I know that's true, and then there are things on the Daily Mail that I know are completely wrong. So
yeah,
depends what, I guess, who's writing in the source. But yeah, Ollie Bierman to Haas.
Yeah, I think, didn't I say this a few episodes ago that I want Ollie at Haas and he deserves that seat?
Do you reckon? Do you reckon that's the best move for him?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's not any other seats unless he goes to Mercedes, but Kimi Antonelli is set to take that seat.
I know. Well,
I don't really see him going to Williams.
All these seats are so quick.
It's kind of like Haas is the best option.
And all these seats are so
They're quickly filling up.
Yeah. I was like, the silly season's nearly over. I was like, the fuck? I was like, we still have...
It's been like a slow kind of burn. It's like every other week there's an announcement of a driver signing somewhere.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, so it's not going to be like a whole bomb of just announcements in the off season.
Yeah. Well,
it's kind of sad.
And then Yuki obviously re-signed with Visa Cash Out for one more year, which I don't know.
Did that surprise you?
Part of it was surprised, but then also I'm like, why am I surprised? Like, he's been consistently good. Like, well, he's not consistently good. He's been consistent for the team. And, you know, maybe it's only till 2025. So, one more year. So maybe they're like, let's just test you out for another year.
Yeah. See what he does. But then as well, sometimes I wonder if the expectations are just too high. Like, they're not a good team. What do you expect? Like, the car's shit. They're not going to get... they're not going to be top 5 all the time.
No, they're not. They're definitely aiming for that middle ground team at the moment, aren't they?
But then, are they going to re-sign Daniel?
Well, that's the big question at the moment. I just don't see where else he would go, to be entirely honest. I mean, we know Checo, right after our podcast recording last week, like within minutes of getting home from re-signed with Red Bull. And unfortunately, Checo had the worst week at Canada. And everyone was like, and you re-signed with Red Bull, giving him so much shit. Definitely not.
Yeah, it's like all the memes where it's like Red Bull, like, holding his contract and ripping it out.
It's definitely not. Wasn't his week. I was going to say, what did you think of Daniel Ricciardo's, like, the comments and stuff about Daniel, especially from, and I'm going to butcher this name, I wish Pat would Jacques Villeneuve.
Jacques Villeneuve. Jacques Villeneuve, yeah.
Oh, you can say it. There you go.
Look, so maybe I can say it. Look, I can pronounce something. Go me. I'm so proud.
Well, I'm proud of you as well.
So, I mean, like, I understood where he was coming from. So, if people didn't hear it, so basically he said, why is he still in F1? Why is Daniel still in F1? We're hearing the same thing now for the last 4 or 5 years. We have to make it better for him, poor him. It's been 5 years of that. Sorry, no, you're in F1. And then he said, maybe you make that effort for Lewis Hamilton, who has won multiple championships. You don't make that effort for a driver that can't cut it. Can't cut it? Go home. There's someone else who will take your place. I mean, look, I feel like there is some truth to it because we have been hearing the same thing for the last 4 or 5 years. I just felt like the delivery of it was quite horrible and attacked him.
It was super.
There was,
especially when they were like, he said pretty much that Daniel's just there because his personality.
Yeah,
and he's like,
he was basically just said you're the personality hire. But then also, I feel like that's what everyone kind of unintentionally says.
I mean,
because everyone says he brings more to the sport, but then he does bring like knowledge and stuff to the car and how it performs.
We've definitely said it that he's personality.
Yeah, we've said it.
I mean.
Because also like
Horny Horner said it once as well. He was like, Daniel's great PR for us. It's the team principal saying that. But Daniel then, you know, obviously pulled out a stellar qualifying. We'll get into all the teams and the breakdown of that. And pretty much just came out and was like, suck shit.
It's so nice to see when you, like, someone has that motivation and then they just stick it to them. They're like, thank you for that. It's such like an Aussie thing to do. Like, someone says you can't do something, so then you go and do it.
Oh.
Like, you go and perform, but...
Doesn't sound like us at all. But maybe he needs that sort of like...
Yeah, I definitely think he needs that kind of push. And I think, I guess this rumor has been floating around for quite a while about Kimi Antonelli going to Mercedes. But now apparently it's been like confirmed.
Yeah.
There are sources saying it's confirmed, kind of like how it's been confirmed that Ollie Beeman's going to Haas. And you look back at what happened with Max and Mercedes and how I think it was Toto wanted to sign Max, but they only wanted to give him a 1-year contract, and that's why he went to another team or went to Red Bull.
Yeah.
And it's like, let it go. Don't try and like replay history and alter the path by having another young, apparently prodigy driver, and just try and repeat what Red Bull did with Max. Because he's just trying to recreate Max in someone else. And also, he hasn't won F2. He's barely been in an F1 car. And people are saying, yes, he's done tests in F1 cars, but doing a test in an F1 car is totally different to doing a practice session in an F1 car or doing qualifying in an F1 car.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother level of like pressure and adrenaline.
Yeah. I mean,
so I'm kind of scared for him.
Well, that pressure being on Jack Doohan at the moment as well, because he obviously did a practice session in the Alpine car over in Canada on the weekend. So it's all.
Didn't his one get rained out?
Oh,
or did he end up?
No, wait, hang on.
Yeah, he's got rained out.
That's right.
Yeah, because it was like torrential rain and hailing. And...
Yeah, I mean, literally 4 seasons.
Just so much going on.
4 seasons in one day. Hey, I have a confession about Kimi.
Oh my God, what?
Sorry.
That sounds so weird. You have a confession. Have you?
No, so
your cradle snatcher, like
just before during the Oz GP, at the end of the race when like I lost you guys for a little bit, and I was in the paddock, and I was with a bunch of our friends. One of them was like, "Oh, there's Kimi," and I was like, "Kimi, can I grab you for like an interview, like a box thing?" It is the most awful video I've ever seen. I'm like, "What do you like about Australia?" And he goes, and I was like, "And what do you want to do in Australia?" And he's like, "I'm like, you want to win?"
Oh my God! And you were like,
"What else do you want to do?" And he's like, I want to win."
Yeah, like this isn't going anywhere because this is really fucking awkward. I was about to say, I was like, how many tequilas were you down at that point?
It was way too awkward anyway, so I'm so glad that's never come out the light. But I'm like, I've got that little video anyway. Moving on.
I mean, like, you could always do it for a little viral moment. They're always quite funny.
No, I think that story can just stay here. And now with all the listeners.
Just stay on the podcast and then that's it.
It's our listeners.
Nowhere else. It's going
our listeners' secret about like how bad that conversation was.
Yeah.
If I could play the audio right now, I could, but I won't. And maybe if you DM the account and ask for it, I might share it. And then also this weekend, which was a bit of a funny thing, was the trophies.
Yeah, so what was the story there? I didn't really look too much into it. So like AI generated?
Yeah, so there was supposed to be like AI generated trophies or something like that to show like an example of creativity. So they explored like a range of like traditional and elegant trophy designs and applied generative AI to like conceptualize like the perfect award. So it's supposed to be like the perfect trophy, essentially. Which
I mean, it was kind of average.
I thought it was kind of average, and I think it's kind of an average idea. And I was like, I feel like you didn't need to talk to us about it. You could have just handed the trophy out.
Yeah.
If that doesn't sound me.
I was like, that's not an exciting trophy at all.
No. It's
like, I'm sad Lando didn't smash that one.
His champagne spike was pretty impressive. Pretty damn.
Oh my God. It's probably TMI. I don't know what it is, but recently, like, watching men drive and then also, like, do champagne spikes, I'm like, why is that really attractive?
There's something about it. I love it as well. All right.
I'm like, oh, it's really hot.
We need to get into the race weekend, otherwise we could get really, really sidetracked. So,
oh my God.
We're going to fly through this.
We already
some teams that we just can skim right over. Let's kick it off with Alpine. So, where would you want to start?
Esty Bestie.
Look,
I reckon Esty Bestie.
Esty Bestie actually did all right, considering it's been announced he's no longer staying with Alpine.
Yeah, which is a little bit sad for him. And then also just being knocked out in Q1 again.
I mean, that was his disappointing part. But at one point, like, for a good chunk of the race, he was in that top 10. He was above Daniel Ricciardo at one point as well. I think just below Stroll. Yeah, he was sitting 8th. He did pretty well. I mean, that race was not easy. That was a wet race. It was a dry
No.
race. It was a chaotic race.
Yeah, there was like a lot of battles, a lot of tyre strategy, and like the safety cars just threw a spanner into the works every bloody time. I almost cried
It was like actually
when Lando, but
Canada was
that's
the
later.
dream race actually for racing
It really was.
and enthusiasts.
I was surprised there were no red flags.
Yeah. But you just never knew who was going to.
I thought there was going to be a red flag.
That was the only thing missing from the week.
Yeah.
Red flag. But hey, we had safety cars.
Red flag, literally the only thing. But Esteban, I mean, like, I feel like he still did well. Like, he started in 18th, got himself up to 10th.
Hey, he had fastest lap at one point, halfway through the race.
Yeah, he did. I always love it when like a midfield bottom tier team gets fastest lap for like 2 seconds. You're like, oh, yeah, then why are you so slow?
Yeah, pop off.
Why are you so far behind everyone?
Why are you at back? It's like Battery had that at Monaco. Yeah. He was coming last. I was like, how's that work?
Yeah, like what?
I think you said it. Like you're like, there's like a glitch in the simulation when that happens. Like, how do you get fastest lap but you're coming last?
Yeah,
like
you're so far behind.
Yeah,
and like your lap time isn't changing that drastically for you to drop back that much.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, what?
Because I feel like
I really want to see like a lap by lap. I want to see a whole goddamn spreadsheet, lap by lap, of every single driver's times on every single lap.
I'm sure we can pull that for you from someone. I know the F1 app does do that. They have like the stats going, but I think you have to watch it in live on the stat thing to see it happen.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do that next time.
But I'm sure we can pull you a data sheet from somewhere.
You guys will message me during a race. I'll be like, I'm watching the stats. Leave me alone.
Hey, I actually did that when I was in Vietnam the other week. I just watched the stats because that's all I could do.
Yeah.
I was like, this is actually not about
what I want. It's the closest thing you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually kind of fun. It's like when we watched the Vegas viewing party, how you could watch the stats and the race. Yeah. I love that. I was like, oh, I need 2 TVs now.
Well, I had in Vietnam, I was listening because I could listen to it, like the commentary. I had that, and then I was just watching the stats. It's actually perfect.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's actually really good.
It's a great way to go. Now, what about Aston Martin? So it was home race of Le Stroll, as we've already said.
I don't know. He had some good battles with Fernando Alonso and Ricciardo, but
honestly, I'm just like shocked that he made it into that position. He'd never qualified over 16th before in Canada.
Yeah.
So
and also starting 9th, finishing 7th.
Yeah.
Pretty good. At least he gained 2 positions. I mean, Fernando Alonso, I felt like they did have good pace for the weekend. Yeah. Like, I mean, considering where they have been, it was decent. But yeah, Fernando starting 6th, ending 6th. At least he didn't drop any spots.
No complaints to Aston Martin this week. I think they did considerably well. Was surprisingly impressed by Lance Stroll. I think he would have been happy in his home race town. It's not very, I mean, obviously Charles had the win in his home race, but tends to be a bit of a home race curse for the majority of the drivers. So, and
also just Lance and Aston Martin aren't good enough to win a race right now.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Unfortunately. So sorry, but 7th is... That's your number one.
We're not going back to Amy's old prediction of Lance is going to be on the podium anyway.
Oh, God.
Ferrari.
Oh, my God. Now, shocking. Poor Charles.
Poor Patty as well, because she said that both of them were going to be on the podium.
Oh, my God.
But a double
she did too.
DNF, that hasn't happened since 2021.
Yeah, when Ferrari were really struggling with their strategy and just everything.
Yep.
It was like a blast from the past.
Yeah. Fresh up.
That no one wanted to see. Even I didn't want to see that.
It was heartbreaking.
It's because it's just, I know, it's just amazing as well. Like, you really just think about how unpredictable the sport is. Like, you can be, like, look at Charles winning Monaco.
Yeah.
Next week, DNF.
Yeah.
DNF with power unit issues. And it's like, how can the car be so different a week later?
Yeah.
It was perfect in Monaco, and then you come to Canada, and it's just, it blows up in his face.
They really did try to fix that issue. I'm not sure if you watched the footage when Charles went to go change his tyres during the first safety car. He actually held back for a little bit. I think he was trying to reset the whole system, and then he lasted a little bit longer. So really did try to come out, but they just, obviously didn't do well in qualifying, so they were starting at the back, and I think they were just like, at the end, like, fuck this, we're retiring you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, was it 24 seconds
Yeah,
boxed up, I think?
and that's because he was resetting it,
Which was...
so that's why it happened.
Yeah.
Even like a poor Charlo, like, so freaking disappointing. And watching Oliver's face in the garage, he was just like, like, what the fuck?
Oh my God, yes, I saw that.
Yes.
I was like, what just happened?
Especially
we were all thinking that.
After when Carlos spun out and then hit his future teammate, alleged future teammate, I should say, Alex Albon, and of course the DNF.
Took him out.
Yeah.
And then poor Alex, collateral damage in that.
I
think Carlos was just like doing donuts on the grass.
Oh, he tried so hard to get off the grass.
I know. I was like, you can do it.
I gotta
say,
but
you could not do it.
Whoever's done the Canadian groundskeeping, the grass was so fucking
did
long.
A fantastic job.
No, but the grass was so long.
It's so green.
No, but it's so long.
Yeah.
It was. It's way too long to drive. Like, it was just going straight up into the cars.
It's probably for the groundhogs.
Oh, yeah. True.
I'm surprised we didn't see any groundhogs.
I think we did during
in the race.
But not during the race.
Not during the race. Oh, it's probably too wet for them.
Probably. I feel like it was too wet for a lot of them. It was dry, it was wet, it was dry.
Yeah.
But disappointing for him for the weekend. I mean, something that was
disappointing.
What we would usually say is disappointing. Haas was semi-okay. I mean, 1 point was fourth.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching that. They started on the full wet tires.
Yeah,
and
they to do that.
Only ones that had grip, and they were just chasing everyone down and just I was like overtake after overtake after overtake, and I was like, yes, I love this. But then like Haas being Haas, once it dried up and everyone else got their tires warmed up and on the right compound, it was really sorry, but
it's something that you don't think, like, why is only Haas on the wets and everyone else is on the intermediates, and that Haas gets it right on that first go. Like, that was...
But also, like, even just looking at the track, it was clearly fucking wet. Like, it was soaked. So why were they all in inters? And they knew there was going to be rain for the first, like, 15 minutes.
Well, it got delayed.
So I don't understand why everyone kind of gambled that. Oh, yeah,
it got delayed because of the rain, so maybe they thought it was just going to clear. Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, someone out there is so going to fucking come for me saying this. I am pretty sure that tarmac and asphalt has some sort of drying component that actually dries quickly. I heard that.
Well, it would have just been hot.
Or I read that somewhere. No, I don't think it was warm.
Oh. But they said it was like 26 degrees.
Did they?
Like on track.
I don't know. Anyway.
So maybe the tarmac, because like the tarmac could have just been hot and just absorbed the water quite fast.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So.
But also that'd be cool.
Still interesting, the whole situation.
You can always look it up.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, but like Kevin Magnussen started 14th, finished 12th. He was in third place at one point. If only he could have stayed there. And Hulkenberg started 19th, finished 11th, which really isn't too bad. Like Hulkenberg just missed out on points.
He just missed out. I mean, we did have 5 DNFs, so that's why he automatically, jumped up to what's that? 15th anyway. So 15th? Yeah. No.
That's
14th.
True.
Yeah. So he gained 3 places.
I keep forgetting about that.
You technically gained 3 places.
True. Yeah. When you put it like that.
Yeah. Hey, he still gained.
Sorry.
He still gained something.
Yeah. They still did something. It's okay. Now, team of the weekend,
Our
I think.
Boys in orange.
McLaren.
Our faves.
Yes, they scored the first points for McLaren in Canada for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah, that's insane. It doesn't seem right
stat.
That's been 10 years since they scored points in Canada. The car was, you said it before, so suited to this track. Like, perfect. I think the battle between Oscar and Lando with Max, George, and even Lewis was phenomenal. The engineers were even saying to Oscar at one point, they're like, do you think that you could overtake Lando and then take on Max? So they're willing to sacrifice Lando to put Oscar up there. And Oscar just put his hand up and said, no, I've got too much going on behind me, because he was trying to defend George.
Yeah.
Because George was fucking going ham on him. So good.
Yeah, because then at one point it's like, I'm pretty sure, George got past Oscar, and then it was like Oscar then got past George again, and it was just a whole like the last, it would have been like 10 laps. That whole like top 5 were just kind of swapping and changing the whole time.
You had no idea
I was like,
where anyone was going to be in position. And I think that was the beauty about this
and then,
race, is that McLaren, Mercedes, and Red Bull just being Max, because Checo had a DNF.
Sergio was nowhere to be seen.
Battle between those 5 was so good, and such fantastic racing and strategy. And then you never knew who was going to win.
Yeah.
There was never a clear winner. At one point, you were like, yeah, it's Lando. At one point, yep, it's George. Yep, it's Max. No, maybe actually it's going to be Lando again. Like, it's just, the whole thing was so great. And if it wasn't for that safety car and Lando staying out for one more lap.
The first one or the second one?
The first safety car. When they knew there was some more rain coming, and everyone went in to change the tyres, and Oscar had already just changed his. And so Lando was like,
Lando,
and then just missed out.
Wasn't Lando I think Lando was already too far ahead. Like he was like 8 seconds ahead.
No, well,
and gaining through. I think he said he was gaining like 2 or 3 seconds every lap.
Yeah.
And then the safety car happened.
Yeah. And then,
but then he missed the opportunity to pit under that first safety car.
Yeah, well, he could have.
So that's when he had to pit after they all pitted.
Yeah, he could have done it, but
I heard he couldn't.
Oh, I heard that on the radio that he decided to stay out for an extra lap because Oscar was already on the mediums, and so they're gathering the data from how Oscar was going on that. Yeah.
Because then I heard that he was just going too fast and he missed the window. Like he was just too far ahead of the others. I mean, it could be like a mixture of the two. I don't know. But then I also love the on lap 48 when Lando went into pit, came back out, and then it was like Max was coming up around the corner, and then Lando was exiting pit exit, and he got out just in front. But then Max's tires were already like hot and sticky, so he had more grip, and then ended up overtaking Lando. And I was like, no, leave him alone. Let him win.
McLaren this week, like,
it was so good,
so freaking good.
It was so good. I know.
And then Mercedes, so good as well. I mean, we said Mercedes, we're not going to be anywhere near podium.
They've sorted something out. Something's working for them.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Like George obviously started pole but finished third.
Yeah.
Kind of a missed opportunity for him. But then, like George being George, he kind of
George chickened out a lot. Look, I'm just going to
in high. Yeah, I just feel like he can't really deal with high pressure situations. No, when he got that overtake on Lando.
When Lando, he let Lando go.
Yeah, they're going.
Also let Oscar go through at one point.
Oh my god, there's actually too many overtakes. I can't remember what one's what. Yeah, Lando locked up. Almost got Lando then, but then George had DRS, went past Lando, had that advantage, but then what did he do? He locked up or made a mistake going into the corner, and then Lando got his position back.
Yeah.
I was like, George, that could have been yours, but you just made that tiny little error, and now you're third.
It's definitely a pressure thing when it comes to George. I don't there's just something that you're like, come on, fucking go, get it.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
just attack it.
Yeah. There's
well.
He just needs that little fire in his belly just to keep going. And then Lewis just was consistently fighting. That man did not give up at all. I mean, he got the fastest lap.
Yeah, 7th to 4th, hop off. Yeah, and he was in some great battles around the last few laps as well.
Yeah.
And it was nice seeing him back in the mix.
It was nice seeing him fighting.
It's nice seeing Mercedes just in the mix.
fighting those top 5 as well, because huge pressure on Mercedes, especially with, and I think we have to discuss it, and we're talking about Red Bull next anyway, George and Max getting the same qualifying time. Like, come on.
Like, that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because, like, you sort of, I think I was talking to someone about it. Like, you think about, doing a running race, and it's like 2 people have the exact same time. You're like, okay, it's 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, whatever it is. It's a tiny little sprint. But they are in such huge pieces of machinery around a 5-kilometer course. The timing to be able to finish on the exact same time is just mind-blowing.
And for anyone wondering out there, how do they decide then the pole, who starts on pole? It's because George crossed the line first. That's why. Which I didn't know that. So that was a fun
first in, first out. Yeah. Actually, I didn't know that either. I mean, it makes sense.
Makes sense if you're the first one to get there. Max and George, awesome in quali in that moment. Very cool. And then I didn't think Max was going to win Canada at all. And I was actually happy when he did. Also, it was probably the first time that I was like, because it just felt so well deserved. He did.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, it's fine. It's it's good seeing Max win because there was such a good battle. It was just such good racing the whole entire time. And if it was just another Max Verstappen off into the distance, 40 seconds ahead, I think he only won by 4 seconds.
Yeah. No.
So the gap is closing.
The gap is closing. These cars are getting more competitive. This is exciting racing. This is what we want.
Oh, I 100% think it's the constructors is open for the taking.
Yeah. Well, with the Ferrari
Sergio.
DNF, Max's championship points have bolstered ahead of Charles. It's a bit of a shame, but hopefully, I don't know, something might change there. But it definitely.
I mean, they're kind of even now.
Definitely
Max DNF'd in Australia. So
yeah, but if you look at the points, Max's points are so much further ahead. But then his points are not further ahead. Mr. Checo.
Oh my god, he hasn't reached Q3 in the last 3 races.
It's insane. And
he did this last year, didn't he?
He obviously he retired. He had some damage to his car, and then he drove back to the pits with significant damage, and then now caused himself a 3 grid place penalty in Spain. So
yeah, and what I heard that he was given instructions to drive back, which kind of sucks because he was just following orders.
That sucks, and then that should be on the team, not on him. But then also there is some responsibility.
Did he get fined?
Well, no, his fine. His fine is the grid place penalty, but they're also I agree.
I swear he got a fine as well.
He probably did, but I agree. It should be the team's penalty if they told him to do that. But then at the same time, as the driver, you have some responsibility. If you know you're driving a car that is fucked. Even as us civilians, when we drive, if we know our car is fucked, that's on us.
Yeah. It's right now. I'm like, should probably change my tires.
Yeah. Losing.
When the tire thing comes on, you're like,
they're looking a little bit bald at the moment. Not much tread going on there.
God. Okay. So Red Bull Racing got fined 25,000.
Okay, so the team did get fined.
Yeah. Yeah. So so they got a fine, and then Sergio had his grid place penalty.
Yeah.
So they both copped it.
Yeah. So
damn.
That's back-to-back DNFs for Checo. Not fantastic.
Whoopsie. It just seemed to be the day of people that had contract extensions and not doing too well.
Yeah, I felt bad for Checo.
We'll talk about that
soon. But also I was like, why are you being shit this weekend? The whole weekend.
Knock it off.
Be better.
The last few weeks. Can you stop it? We want to see you do well.
Well,
but anyway.
Joe Guanyu. Anyway. So if we move into stake, Joe started 20th and he finished 15th. So, and that's because there was 5 DNFs.
Yeah. So basically, he's same position. Same position for Joe. Valtteri Bottas. I don't have much to say about stake.
I don't have anything else to say about them. Battery Bottas.
Oh,
his
okay.
highlights for me this week were him trying different maple syrup and like sucking on a stick of maple syrup. So like that's sort of, you know, where my mind is going.
I didn't see that.
Because
I did not.
I was looking. I just forgot about him for the weekend. But then someone else, which we've touched on, if we move into the carb, the carb Beige Cash app,
the crab,
the crabs. The carb loaders. If we talk about the carb loaders, obviously we discussed the comments that Daniel received, and it put some sort of fire in his belly because then he had an outstanding qualifying, his best this year, in 5th.
And then finished 8th.
Yeah, so
kind of sad to see him drop back down, but
it was.
He was in the points, and he had a false start.
Okay, so I have actually looked over this footage a few times. I don't know if that was a false start. And also, the commentators have said the same thing as well. They go, I don't know if that is a false start. Like,
because I didn't actually go back and watch the footage.
So I don't think it is. But obviously, there is some data out there to say that it was. He had to serve a time penalty, which he did during the safety car, the first one. And it put him, unfortunately, he lost a few positions. Otherwise, maybe he would have kept his, I don't think he would have been in that top 5. I think the Mercedes were challenging McLaren's too hard. I think Daniel.
I think he would have just stayed in the same position. Oh, my light died.
Oh. I think he could have finished in 6, maybe. Yeah, he got the 8th, and then Yuki, he didn't get the points though.
No, that's as I kind of said before, not a good weekend for people that just signed contract extensions. No. I think his biggest mistake is when he lost control of the car at turn 8 or 9 and then went to the grass, and then he kind of couldn't really come back from that. But that was also later on in the race, so he was kind of just like sitting in the midfield, just driving along.
He was 8th. He was sitting in his comfortable position. That's like 8th and 9th is like Yuki's posse at the moment.
Yeah, literally. Like, that's for Yuki. That's
then
only
he came
Yuki's
second
spot.
last.
No one else can touch it. Yeah. True, because oh my god, I keep forgetting.
I know, every time I think about it,
I'm like, oh yeah, 14's not too bad. Then I'm like, wait, no,
that's second last because fucking Williams, double DNF again. This team is cursed at the moment. How many?
Oh my god.
Like, no, okay. This is actually an issue. The commentators are talking about Daniel Ricciardo not performing and that he needs to go, blah, blah, blah. Why is no one talking then about Logan Sargent? Is it because he is American and he's the only American? Because lap 25, Logan went into the wall and he couldn't restart his car again. And he triggered a safety car, which was, a perfect time for a safety car because everyone was hoping for some rain and then to obviously change the tires from the intermediates into something else, put some slicks on. But like, no one is talking, the commentators talking about Logan Sargent, his performance. And I do wonder if it's something to do with the fact that they're trying to grow the F1 audience in America and they need an American driver and there's no one to replace Logan. But they're giving shit on Daniel.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I feel like I just don't know if they need to use one driver to grow an audience, because I feel like it's already growing and most American fans aren't really Logan supporters.
Like I said, I just don't understand why the commentators and the media is not really talking about it. There's something fishy. It's like very political. And then Alex Albon was an unfortunate DNF. Collateral of his future nickname, Carlos Sainz.
But he had a great overtake on lap 30 of Ricciardo and Ocon on the one corner.
Yeah.
I was like, that was a great one. Even the commentators were like, oh, spicy.
It was spicy. Yeah, poor Alex. I think he wanted to come out and prove something and then didn't happen for him. Carlos.
Yeah. Imagine if they are becoming teammates and they already know this.
And that's why they're fighting.
Like, you?
Yeah, because Alex is like, fuck you. I was supposed to be number 1 driver.
And now he's not. I loved that race.
Best race so far this year.
Loved
hands
it.
down.
Yeah, absolutely. I just really hope that there's more like that.
Provided everything, because we had
I really hope
all 4 seasons. We had all sort of different scenarios, potential winners, DNFs, so much tyre strategy, so much pit strategy. Loved it.
It was very unpredictable, which is what we like. We like unpredictable races. I don't like them when it's just, what race was it? Because it wasn't Monaco. It was another one, but there was literally 4 overtakes in the whole entire race. Maybe it was Monaco.
All right, well,
I don't know.
Ames, I think we should leave it there because we are doing this over the internet and there is some dodgy internet connections. But if
the connection's very shitty.
If you made it this far, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for bearing with us.
And staying tuned. Hey, actually, there's something that we do need to quickly discuss. So, I can't believe I didn't even think about this when we were talking about it at the very start. So, obviously, there's the rumor about Kimi going to possibly Mercedes. But apparently, Ocon is also rumored to go to Mercedes.
Surely not.
Have you heard this?
Surely not.
Yeah, so apparently he signed a deal with...
But I think...
Because he said he has a seat next season.
It can't be Mercedes. If Ocon goes to Mercedes... No, I was about to say I'll quit F1, but I'm not going to quit F1.
It's a big
Ocon,
call.
but I don't think he's good enough for that Mercedes
it's true.
seat. Yeah, it's a big call. We'll just have to wait and see. I don't know. He hasn't really proven himself. I don't think it's true. I mean, what's worse, Kimi or Ocon?
Well, Ocon has the experience.
But I just don't think he's good enough for the seat.
But maybe he needs that seat.
Maybe it'll bring out a different part of him.
Yeah. I feel like and we've said this before, like every driver needs an opportunity in like a good car to show themselves. Yeah, otherwise, how will they show themselves?
Yeah, because you can't prove yourself in a mid-tier car.
All right, guys, we're going to leave it there.
Bye, everyone. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Next week.
Bye.
Next week. Bye.
Is it next week?
I don't know. Sometime.
No. Bye.
Bye.